love that little bell. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. It is my great honor to serve this beloved community. It's so good to see all of your faces this morning. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community with one great aim: to grow in love. Love for our neighbor, love for our planet, and love for ourselves. Our celebrant this morning, joining me here on the pulpit, is Gwyn Reid, along with our fabulous choir, sharing music with us this morning. It's going to be a great day. In the spirit of our gathering as a beloved community, let's take a moment to welcome those who are joining us on Zoom. Turn and wave to our cameras. Hello, Zoom crew. And of course, we do want to see your beautiful faces this morning, so we invite you to turn your cameras on for a moment so we can say hello to you. Good morning, Christina. Hello, Bonnie. It's good to see you, Edith. And Mary Nodell with the picture of your cute little dog, Oso. Good morning, Jane and Tony and Linda. I love seeing all the people on the Zoom. It's so great. Thank you all. Good morning. So good to see all of you. A special welcome to our newcomers, those of you who are joining us for the first or second time this morning. We know it takes a lot of courage to check out a new community and to walk inside the doors or even creep online. And we're so glad that you've chosen us this morning. We hope that you will fill out a newcomer form. We have those in the entryways on our carts, and we'll post a link in the chat so that we can keep you connected with all that is available, ways to engage in this community. I want to direct everyone's attention to the beautiful sanctuary tree right over here, where our climate action team is working on this installation to help us as a community visually see all the ways in which we are making climate-friendly, climate justice choices in our own lives to really show the reach of what it is to do that collectively. So you're invited to fill out a leaf, or 5 or 7 or 12, depending on how many actions you employ in your own life, and put it on our tree, things that you do for earth-friendly, climate-friendly actions in your own home. And we hope we'll see that whole tree just fill up as the weeks go by. In this time of centering, at this hour, in small towns and big cities and storefronts and ornate sanctuaries, many of our sibling Unitarian Universalists are also lighting their flaming chalice, a symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice, reminding us that we are part of a great community of faith. This morning, we have a young first-time chalice lighter joining us to light the chalice to remind us of our promise to the future generations of Unitarian Universalists. So as Aggie Klan comes up to join me up here, I invite those of you in our virtual community to light a chalice if you have one nearby, and then feel free to share with us in the chat where it is you have lit your chalice this morning. Friends, it is my delight to introduce you to Aggie Klan. Aggie, how long have you been coming to BUUF, do you think? If you had to guess. You don't really know. Not that long. You're pretty new, huh? And we've been asking our chalice lighters this month during our capital campaign time as we're building a new way for the future, if you might share a favorite memory. I hear you have a memory to share. I told Aggie she could share it in the microphone, but I think we might want to put you on that stool right there. Okay, what's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory is when I met Lark and we went around the trail and showed her the growth.
Out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you see anything surprising? Like secret spaces and stuff you didn't know about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Aggie, here is your first time chalice lighter pin. Thank you so much for being our chalice lighter today. Let us join together in song, in joining our hearts and bodies and breath as we sing our gathering hymn, Come Sing a Song with Me. I invite you to rise in body or spirit.
As we gather together, we acknowledge that the land upon which our church and homes exist is the ancestral land stolen from the people of the Shoshone Bannock, the Shoshone Paiute, Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai, and Nez Perce nations, along with many other tribes whose names have been lost in history. We acknowledge that our presence here today is founded upon the exclusions and erasures of many indigenous peoples. With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to the work of dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
Our spiritual theme for this month of April is groundedness. This is our last Sunday in this theme, the practice of walking on the earth. Today's service dives into the spiritual practice of walking and the ancient adage, Solvitur ambulando, it is solved by walking. As we enter into this time of worship, I invite us all to take a breath together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, knowing our breath connects us to one another, to our bodies, and to our planet. Our breath offers us the opportunity for stillness, to tune in to our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
Our call to worship this morning is from Thich Nhat Hanh's The Beautiful Path. The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this beautiful path, I walk in peace. With each step, a gentle wind blows. With each step, a flower blooms. The mind darts from one thing to another, like a monkey swinging from branch to branch without stopping to rest. Thoughts have millions of pathways, and we are forever pulled along by them in the world of forgetfulness. If we can transform our walking path into a field of meditation, our feet will take every step in full awareness. Our breathing will be in harmony with our steps, and our minds will naturally be at ease. Every step we take will reinforce our peace and joy and cause a stream of calm energy to flow through us. Come, let us worship together.
I would like to invite all of our young people to walk forward in this space today. Young at heart, forever young. You get to decide how you identify, friends. You're ready to go. Our theme this month is the practice of walking on the earth. You've done that 1,000,000 times. Yeah. What haven't we done yet together? If you were going to really explore this theme, what would you do?
Take walks.
Thank you. Mac, were you going to say the same thing? What were we going to say? Go on a hike. Okay, yeah. Go on a hike, take walks. Yes. Go camping. That's a good way to do that too, yeah.
Go on a hike barefoot.
With barefoot. Yes, sometimes that is the coolest way to really feel like you are getting in touch with the earth and your body barefoot. You have to be careful, but it can be really cool. Well, today's Time for All Ages really truly is for all ages, because we are actually I'm going to invite you into this practice, spiritual practice of walking as a meditation. We are going to do a walking meditation today, y'all. I mean, we kind of have to in this theme. So walking meditation is different than hiking, and different than just taking a regular walk, and different than walking on the greenbelt for exercise, right? Walking meditation is about tuning into our own selves and our own experience. It is about allowing our mind to just notice our breath, our movement, the smells and the sounds, and to just find a little bit of stillness. Not complete quiet, but just kind of come down a little bit from regular life where your mind is usually like really busy and full of thoughts and full of ideas and full of sound. And just bring it down. And so when we do that together, when in a walking meditation, we're going to walk at a slower pace than we might normally walk. So you all are invited to join us. We're going to go in 2 lines. One line following Gwyn and one line following me, and we're going to go out our doors. We are going to go outside. We'll stay on the paved courtyard, and we'll come right back in. It won't be a really long walking meditation. And for those of you that don't want to walk, can't walk, would rather just stay seated, it is possible to do a seated walking meditation, because we have the power of imagery for ourselves. And so we've also brought a beautiful nature inside. We'll have a video for you to just sit and walk in your mind. So I invite us all to do that together. Let's stand up as you are able. And we're just gonna start to walk together, and I'm just gonna invite you to be with your own self. You may go find a parent if you wanna walk with a parent or family, or you can stay up here and walk together as a group with Jen. To stay present to your own self, and just breathe as we walk together. Here we go. Not long enough? Do you feel different, Cambria?
I mean, I didn't know I was cold until I went out.
I didn't know. So different. I don't know about you, but I feel it in my body. I feel like my breath slowed way down, and my body just kind of, and when we got out into that beautiful, the sunlight on the trees and just breathing that fresh air, it was just like a whole difference. Yeah, Matt. You got a lot calmer. Anybody else feel a little more calm and just rested still? Yeah. Good job. So this is a wonderful practice that we have the ability to do anytime. And sometimes it's a little bit easier for some of us to get into that calm meditative place when we're moving our bodies than it is when we're sitting still. Sometimes that can be harder for some folks. So anytime you need it, and really we only did it for less than 5 minutes and it made a difference. So let's remember that wonderful tool that we have at our disposal to kind of help calm ourselves and also tune in to the beauty and the loveliness of being in nature and being outside. I loved walking right by our fountain and hearing that trickling water. That's always a favorite sound of mine. Let's join together in our community blessing as we sing our children and youth off to their religious exploration classes, where you're going to get to do some imaginative building today.
When we give, we say yes to the natural cycle of abundance in our lives, and we say yes to building beloved communities within and beyond our walls. We commit ourselves to work for justice and compassion for all people and for our earth. Today, we share our gifts with our plate partner, the Shoshone-Paiute tribes of Duck Valley Indian Reservation, as an expression of that commitment and living out our faith in the world. I invite the ushers to come forward. Our offering will be gratefully received.
I invite our ushers to come forward, bring our offering forward, and invite all of you to join together in the collective blessing of our offering gifts. We bless these gifts so freely given. May generosity always be our companions as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. Thank you all. As I hope all of you by now know, we are building a new way. In the middle of our combined capital campaign and annual giving drive, to all of you who have pledged already after a stewardship visit, thank you. We are doing remarkably well towards our goal for both our annual giving and our capital campaign. For those of you who are volunteering to be stewards, thank you. And if you haven't gotten a visit yet, don't worry, I'm sure it's coming. And we will have an opportunity after the service today to do a small group stewardship visit. So if you haven't gotten a visit yet, or if you've had a hard time scheduling one with your steward, and it's just easier for you to stick around after the service, please feel free to join some of our stewards today in doing that, and we'll gather in the library. But during these campaign time, we like to hear from members and friends of the congregation to share a little bit about what it is that connects them both to this community and to the campaign itself. And so this morning, we're blessed to hear some words from Wanda Jennings.
Thank you. My husband, Brian, and I joined this fellowship 32 years ago in 1992. It has always been a delightful place to be. We've seen BUUF go through many changes, but we always come out on the positive side due to the love that is here. I served 2 terms as president of BUUF's board. I led the search team when we found Sara as our new minister. I've taught many religious education classes through the years. I was in the Quest 1 group and have been in many, many adult education classes, helping me to learn who I am. Brian and I celebrated both our 40th and our 50th wedding anniversaries with parties with our friends here at BUUF. We are both part of BUUF's Green Sanctuary team when we met the requirements of the UUA, or Unitarian Universalist Association's Green Sanctuary accreditation. BUUF was given the award at the 2019 UUA General Assembly in Salt Lake City, where Brian and I accepted the award for BUUF. There we are. Some of the things we did were to reduce, reuse, and recycle in many ways. We switched most of the fluids used in this building to more environmentally friendly ones. We placed recycling bins throughout the building and on the grounds. We chose environmentally friendly items for the plants on our grounds. We surveyed BUUFers about what they were doing, and many were driving cars using less fuel, as well as limiting their use of non-recyclable items, and some put in solar panels. Once upon a time, there were gophers in the lawn at BUUF, and someone knew a solution to get rid of them responsibly. You pour male human urine on their gopher holes, and the gophers will leave and not come back. So we put bottles in the restrooms and asked the men to fill them. We took the urine out of the gopher holes and poured it on them. We did this for a few weeks, and the gophers were gone. Yay, no chemicals involved, and no gophers were hurt. At least that's how I remember it. Yes, indeed. And now we hope all of you will be very generous in your support of BUUF's stewardship campaign to replace our old HVAC system and with one more environmentally friendly. carbon neutral, here we come. And please support our Serene Sanctuary project to make our sanctuary a more worshipful place. And of course, we need your continued donations to our annual budget to keep things running smoothly around here. Now here's a poem I wrote. Love flows through BUUF. Thanks to kind BUUF friends, loving and peaceful all, a delightful home you've created with your presence in the hall. With friendly smiling faces, love circulates around. Each person contributes, creating the home that we found. Armida Alexander and Elizabeth Green, Dana Warschnop, and now Sara LaWall. Songs and laughter create joy. There's always room for all. Verge groups, covenant groups, classes, and quests too. We all find ways to get involved. We stick together like glue. Potlucks and Boston Bounders, OWL classes and Children's RE, bringing everyone together. Each of you provides the key. Singing the 12 days of Christmas, watching the Easter Bunny hop by, caring for our grounds and building, memories around us lie. Walking along the labyrinth and through the lovely green grove, Jeremiah's Adventure Garden provides a treasure trove. Crossing Little Bridge, enjoying nature's flowers, singing meditation and prayers, singing a hymn or three, worshiping together. We're all connected, see? Thanks to our great staff and volunteers as well for creating an atmosphere in which love for all can dwell. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. See, friends, see what it means to be in beloved community, the lengths you will go to for this congregation. What we're asking of you now is so minor in comparison, I feel. In our commitment to building a new way, we connect with the greater vision of Unitarian Universalism and the values, knowing that a better, more just, more peaceful, more free world is possible for everyone. So today we're mixing it up a little bit, and we're going to invite you to enjoy our campaign theme song minus the delightful new lyrics. But it's good to remember that this building a new way is for more than just us. This video was created by Mike Menifee with beautiful vocals by Alina Hemingway.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free, free of hate, greed, and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom, that is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
What a beautiful reminder of all that is possible when we come together to build beloved community and to hold those values and to hold one another, to hold our own lives and the lives of our beloveds in our hearts and in our bodies, connecting with each other, reminding each other that we walk together on this earth. So we open up a space each week to receive and carry the joys and sorrows of this beloved community. We begin by sharing a need from Morgan O'Hearn, who has been having some extreme migraines, unable to work or drive, needing some extra help at home to run some errands, and welcomes thoughts and prayers and spells, please. And today, this afternoon, as many of you know, we mourn and grieve the loss of our beloved State Representative Sue Chu with her memorial service here at 4 p.m. And I want to let this community know, in keeping with cultural and family tradition, Sue's family has requested that her casket remain open during the service. And we expect a very full house, so if you're planning to attend, we invite you to come early. And if you're able, we invite you to park in the neighborhood over there till there's free parking spaces up for the family and community members. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud, share it in the chat, that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all our joys and sorrows, those named and those that remain silent and close to our hearts. May we feel the grace that surrounds us and be transformed by the spirit of life and love, with a warmth to celebrate the joys and a gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Breathe with me. Breathe into this sacred space, into the space wherever you find yourself. Breathe with this beloved community filled with loving kindness. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence. Blessed be. Wow, choir, it's beautiful. Like a sound bath of voices. I have spoken about my own personal walking practice in many sermons now over the past couple of years. I hope you're not getting too tired of it. But when I read this saying in An Altar in the World by Barbara Brown Taylor, "It is solved by walking," I immediately knew I wanted it to be a worship service. I've walked off and on in my life, but mostly for exercise. And this current walking practice that I have really started in the midst of the pandemic lockdown, when I noticed that I was just sitting at my desk all day long. And even with no in-person meetings, I wasn't even walking to my car and parking and walking downtown and all the other just intermittent walking I would do in the day. It really was just sitting all day long. And like so many of us, I suspect, I also felt this really strange tension, this knot in my core, this low-grade anxiety that never left, even as I also felt a little bit of gratitude and relief for the forced slowdown. Meanwhile, spring was blooming with a force like I had never seen before. I don't know if you can remember April of 2020 if you ventured out, but it was wild and lush, especially here on our campus. And one day I just realized I was totally ignoring it. So I started to schedule a daily afternoon walk around the campus and then out to the green belt, and it was glorious. The fresh air and the sunshine, just like our walking meditation today, they really are magical balms for the spirit and mind and body. And it didn't take long before I noticed that I felt better, that tension and anxiety at my core loosening up just a little bit. My body ached less, my mind felt clearer, my heart and spirit felt more open and calm. And after a few weeks of walking nearly every day, I also noticed an increase in my creative thinking. I would suddenly have these waves of ideas about upcoming worship services. I wrote several prayers and poems on my walk that spring. I just learned to take my phone out and start talking into it. I'm sure I got all kinds of looks from the people I passed. I also noticed just more clarity and far less anxiety. Clarity about particular problems or challenges I'd been chewing on. A year and a half later, when I found myself facing a new cancer diagnosis, I walked. If nothing else, it just gave me the time and the space to process some of the emotional enormity and spiritual weight that I felt, and walking quieted my mind and eased my spirit just enough. And I even began to work out a possible structure for this memoir that I'd just been thinking about for a long time. And a year after that, when I found myself in the midst of a deep depression like nothing I had ever experienced before, I walked. I walked because I felt like I could do nothing else. It was the only thing that helped me make it through a day. There is something about walking, about movement, that just invites more distance, more spaciousness, that spurs creative energy, that allows emotions to come up and forward and out, that brings unexpected solutions and new ideas into focus. The phrase Solvitur Ambulando, or "it is solved by walking," is often attributed to Augustine of Hippo, or St. Augustine, as many know him, a theologian and philosopher in the 4th century, considered by some as one of the most important church fathers of the Latin Church. Now, if you know me and my theology deeply, you will know that I am not a fan of Augustine. Much to the chagrin, it's wild debate among some of us Unitarian ministers, because he also happens to be the originator of the theology of original sin and the concept that our deeds cannot save us from sin, and therefore salvation can only come from the grace of God. a far departure from our historic universalist theology of salvation for all. But this phrase just kept coming back to me. It is solved by walking. So I'll give Augustine 1 star. Maybe 2. He did write some nice things about beauty, too. Now, while this idiom is a powerful metaphor for those who cannot walk permanently or even temporarily, it can feel more complicated. And so I invite you to find the interpretation that fits best for you. I know that after I had multiple surgeries and walking was complicated and exhausting, I didn't feel so connected to it as I once had. But often I would just notice that moving my body from maybe like the couch to the back patio and sitting outside made a small difference. And although I have experienced the power of walking as I have evangelized to you, you don't have to know what the it is, as Barbara Brown Taylor reminds us, the it that you are hoping to solve before you walk. Sometimes, oftentimes, you just have to begin walking to find out. In fact, on many of my own walks, I've set out with certain thoughts and problems and curiosities swirling in my head. And through the course of my walk, I end up discovering or maybe even receiving wisdom about a whole nother thing that wasn't even on my mind. The Quaker teacher Parker Palmer speaks about the shy soul that lives within each of us. The part of us that knows how to survive through the toughest times and moments in our lives, the part of us that teaches resilience. And this shy soul holds our deepest wisdom, but like a wild animal, only emerges in the quiet stillness when we stop crashing around, shaking the bushes for it to appear on demand. And so setting about on a walk helps create the conditions necessary in our beings to allow that shy soul to appear, and quiets us just enough, perhaps, to hear our own inner teacher. I have felt this powerfully on some of my walks, not all of them, but some. Labyrinths are a great way to practice that kind of walking that invites the wisdom and shy soul to emerge. They're effective because they offer you a prescribed path with one way in and one way out. I know some of you are dedicated labyrinth walkers. If you haven't had a chance in this time of exploring this theme of the practice of walking on the earth, I invite you to spend some time in our own labyrinth here. I'm always shocked when I walk a labyrinth. Usually the invitation of labyrinth walking is to hold a prayer or a thought or a question in mind as you walk and to allow that wisdom to come to you. And I am always stunned as I begin walking, and you get close to the center and then you're far away again and then you get close before you finally get into the center. And I am always surprised at every time how in the course of walking the labyrinth, the wisdom comes. Sometimes it's not wisdom I asked for or really wanted, but it comes nonetheless. The spiritual practice of walking is heralded in many religious traditions. The practice of walking the labyrinth, Buddhist walking meditation like we did this morning, the neo-pagan practice of the spiral dance, the Hajj, the Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca, and other religious and spiritual pilgrimages like the Camino de Santiago. And in a culture that praises busyness and rewards speed, it's no wonder we have to seek out those special avenues, out-of-the-way places to wander and tune in to our spirit, to just walk. Human beings have used walking as a way to explore, deepen, even excavate their own spiritual lives, seeking meaning, seeking some inner guidance, some solutions. Whether conscious or not, the wisdom, Solvitur, Ambulando, it is solved by walking, speaks to so many of us at some point in our lifetimes. But I have been asking myself as I've been thinking about this phrase, does walking really solve anything? As much as this idea calls to me, as much as I have found solace and comfort and wisdom in walking, as much as walking has helped me through some of the most challenging moments in my life when I have felt on the brink of falling apart, I am also very aware that it doesn't really solve anything. The pain of the world still exists. War still rages with unconscionable impact. Our legislature and many other state governments, our Supreme Court, still denies rights to young people, trans people, pregnant people. My child still yells at me. Cancer still attacks. Beloveds still die. The problems are not solved. But still, we walk. We walk in so many different forms. In addition to pilgrimages and meditations, I think about fundraising walks, about the Susan B. Komen 3-day breast cancer walk, or the walk to end Alzheimer's, or the Out of the Darkness overnight walk for suicide prevention and mental health awareness. And those are just a few. We walk to protest. Think of the marches of the early suffragettes, the march from Selma to Montgomery, women's marches, the March on Washington, the March for Ceasefire. I think about our border action a few years ago when several of us went down to San Diego and we walked from Friendship Park in Tijuana to the actual border. I think of all the marches for Black lives like the ones we saw in our video. Some of us walk even if there is risk of arrest or violence. We walk for those who cannot. We walk for those whose voices are silenced and whose bodies are in peril. We walk to reclaim power when we can't do anything else. So perhaps something is solved by walking, something within rather than without. As I was researching this saying, doing my usual deep dive on Google, I learned that Solvitur Ambulando actually originated prior to Augustine, go figure, to the Greek philosopher Diogenes in the 3rd century BCE. And Diogenes, as it happens, is considered the founder of the philosophical tradition of cynicism. So if you found your own self wondering, is it really solved by walking before I ever got there? Welcome. The philosophy of cynicism had this purpose to live a virtual life in agreement with nature, adhering to reason and personal experience, which meant for them rejecting conventional desires and freeing themselves of earthly possessions. Cynics criticized over-adherence to dogmatic thoughts and speculative philosophies, theories they deemed useless. They sound a lot like our transcendentalist ancestors, who were no doubt reading and exploring some of that very philosophy. I see some interesting similarities to our contemporary Unitarianism, minus the giving up of one's worldly possessions. As the lore goes, Diogenes found himself in an intense philosophical debate about the nature of motion. When his adversary touted his theory that motion does not exist, Diogenes stood up and walked away, declaring, "Solvitur ambulando, it is solved by walking." Proof, evidence, reason, very Unitarian response. It is hard, I know, to imagine a world in which the very existence of motion is up for debate. But then again, We live in a time when some very unimaginable conspiratorial ideas about the nature of this life and how one should live it are being touted as truth. Perhaps then we might consider this wisdom just a little bit differently. Perhaps it is solved by walking away, by the practice of experiment, of moving into and through and away from a problem, by physically finding a different perspective, by creating distance and inviting spaciousness, by letting go to all of those tightly held attachments, by wandering in the wilderness, by listening for the shy soul. When the only power we have sometimes is walking, moving our bodies, shifting gears, getting out of old patterns, being in nature, being of the earth, breathing, letting go, then perhaps that is what gets solved. In our walking and our wandering, we understand ourselves differently. We hear ourselves newly. We cultivate a resilience that holds us in the midst of the toughest problems. As mathematicians might remind us, sometimes there is more than one solution. Sometimes no solution is the solution. And sometimes you have to just keep working the problem. Solvitur ambulando, may it be so. Invite us to join together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery, when the problems and pain of life close in, when we struggle for clarity and compassion, clinging to our ways, let us walk. Let us walk away, letting go of the pull to fix and save and prove ourselves once again. Let us walk and move and breathe, breathing in the air of ease, welcoming distance and spaciousness, a new perspective. Let us wander and roam and amble, focusing not on the problem, but on that shy soul, that inner teacher, that whispered wisdom we can only hear in moments of quiet calm. May we begin to see the shape of life in a new way, with new eyes to see and new ears to hear. The distant sound of birdsong, the rustling of trees, the rushing water of the river's flow, the harmonic tones of the wind chime. And then come back to the problems, some solved, some not, some vexing, some unraveling. Remembering the beauty that sings to us, the beauty that beckons us, the beauty that lives within us, among us, beyond us. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. Oh, can we hear it again? Woo. Friends, I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and place your hands over your heart for our closing blessing, our second closing blessing, as we were already once blessed with that gorgeous song. Let us walk in beauty. Let us walk in joy. Let us walk in peace. Let us walk to discover all that we need lives within. And then let us bring that forth as a balm for the world. Solvitur ambulando. Blessed are we all. Go in peace. God. It's wild.